I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're the toughest to the weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you what your nationality is. It doesn't matter if you dark-skinned or light-skinned. It doesn't matter whether you like me, like my YouTube videos, or like what I put on my YouTubes. I greet all of you all with that same universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Today happened to be Sunday, November the 10th, 2019, the time being about 9 o'clock a.m. My reasoning for this video today is I'm asking people that stand for justice worldwide help protest to stop the execution of a young black man on death row in Texas, the state of Texas, Rodney Reed, who was convicted of a murder of a 19-year-old white female who was raped and murdered in the state of Texas in 1996. Rodney Reed was seeing the white female off, behind her fiance's back, but that don't make him a murderer. Rodney Reed was accused of sexually assaulting somebody else, but was acquitted. But the police officer that was dating the white female that was killed, he was convicted in 2007 of a rape and a murder while he was a police officer on duty. But you got to see the scenario. A black man being charged for raping and killing a white woman. A police officer who has connections, a white police officer. I know this seems all so well. All so well, I know it all so well. But let me tell you another thing is, you look at the crime where the female who was murdered and raped, even though she wasn't, we don't know whether she was murdered and raped in her house, but the police never investigated the house that this ex-fiancé, who was a police officer who did 10 years for rape, kidnap, they didn't investigate. They didn't even look into the house that these two couples was living in. It was a belt that the white female was strangled with. They didn't try to get DNA. All they said they seen was semen from the black man, Rodney Reed. But if Rodney Reed seeing her behind the fiance back, then naturally it may be some semen in it. Apparently, the female wasn't really into the police officer, and he knew it. But it even get worse than that. It's a black man that was on death row with Rodney Reed that was convicted, tried and convicted by the same judge and the same prosecutor and these same defense attorneys that was in the case with Rodney Reed. They was in it with this brother that he was exonerated after being on death row so many years. He was exonerated 10 years ago from these same people, y'all. You know, if it's reasonable doubt, you don't supposed to convict. Why didn't the police officers or the prosecutors wouldn't be interest in checking the apartment that this former police officer who was convicted and spent 10 years for rape. You see what I'm saying? And why wouldn't they look into this apartment and see if they find any type of evidence? Apparently this white woman didn't want this white police officer, but then it even get deeper than that. While this white police officer was in jail, a white supremacist wrote an affidavit and gave it to the authorities and said this white police officer, while he was in jail, he said, I had to kill my wife because she was having sex with this N. But you see, a white supremacist wouldn't say that, especially being a white supremacist. They don't like black. But white supremacists, God put it on his heart to try to free this black man. And I give that white supremacists more credit than I do the black leaders here in Charleston, Missouri. Because they won't even stand up for blacks. You see all these geese around. Every time I come around, it's something that they know what's going on. November the 20th, this brother may be executed. Thank God the one brother that was on death row got exonerated after 10 years. 10 years ago, he was freed from these same unjust people that convicted Rodney Reed. You see, I know all about that. Robert Hearns, in the year 2000, tried to put a case on me, which he did. It wasn't a rape case, but it was a misdemeanor sex case. A white female accusing me of doing something. The white female stepfather was just like the man who gave the affidavit. On Facebook, he had a Ku Klux Klan hood on and sheet on and said he was dreaming of a white Christmas. What do that tell you? This is the so-called female that Robert Hearns put together a false police report. But I thank God for Judge Dolan. 19 years later, removed my name off of this list. But these people will set you up. Let's try to save this brother on death row. God knows who did what. And it's too much other evidence to show that it's a great possibility, 99% possibility, that this white ex-police officer who was convicted, Rodney Reed, was charged, but he was exonerated. Y'all think about it. Where's all the leaders at? Where's Jesse Jackson them at? Is any money in this for Jesse Jackson and some of them politicians that I see up in Chicago, Illinois, in the suburbs of Naperville, standing in front of the cameras for what happened to these blacks in Buffalo Wild Wing? The blacks already said they didn't want to sue, but now Jesse Jackson and some of these black politicians in Chicago, whose ward and whose area that they cover, we having mass murders of blacks, but they ain't standing up. But they in front of them cameras is money. Let me see if you're going to stand in front of these cameras and fly to Texas and try to stop the execution. NAACP, let me see y'all. All you other preachers and no matter if you Muslim or Christians, all of y'all that do all these marches to Washington, let me see you march to Texas. Let's see if we can save this brother. You see, I done been through it before. I done been to St. Louis to stop the execution of a brother in St. Louis back in August in 2017. And God made it possible that they didn't execute the brother. But all I can say now, God, stay in control. God, you see the geese. They ain't running from me. You see them all over. They ain't running from me. They know what's going on in Texas too. They know it ain't right. Those lawmakers know it ain't right. One thing about in Texas I like with this protest to stop the execution of this brother, you got all nationalities out there. Charleston, Missouri, you can't, if the police kill somebody unjustly, especially in the black community, you ain't gonna get no type of protest. Now, if a black kill a white or kill a police, the black's gonna protest against them. Peace be still.